Om Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaitanya Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutitye Nashtapraye Shrivatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita by Srila Das Goswami, chapter is 39th, and Prabhupada is in Mayapur. Prabhupada's dwelling was a simple thatched Bengali hut, about 12 feet square, with a dirt floor, a thin partition dividing the main room from the servants' quarters. In front was a small veranda, and in back a garden, where Prabhupada could sit and take massage. Also in back were a hand pump for bathing and an outhouse. When the devotees apologized for offering Prabhupada such a humble residence, he replied that he liked the natural simplicity. Even if he build me the biggest palace, he said, still I would prefer to live here. And actually that hut is still there. When you go to Mayapur, and as soon as we enter from the main gate, that hut is there on the left-hand side.
It has become a bhajan kutir now.
Yeah, it has become a kutir.
They have 24 kirtans there going on.
And to also to show to the world, this is where we started, this hut, and it's like 100 meters from there, this big temple is being built, and from there to here. And I don't know if that time or later on, because ISKCON didn't have big buildings that time, and there would be floods in Mayapur, and devotees would sleep on the roof of that hut. But there was no other place. While living so simply in Mayapur, Prabhupada spoke of his vision of a grand project yet to come. Although the deities of Radha Madhav, whom he had worshipped at the 1971 Ardha Kumbh Mela in Allahabad, were installed in a tent, he spoke of a marble palace. He also spoke of first-class accommodations for guests and devotees. Although as yet he had little to offer, living simply and happily in the thatched hut, he gathered his disciples together and told them of his plans. At his request, devotees had built a small model of the proposed first major building, and there were also drawings of the proposed temple of human understanding. He wanted to build a Mayapur city, he said, with quarters for each of the 4 social classes of the Varnashram institution. So this was his plan, this was his vision of Mayapur. And even till today, only ISKCON has such a huge property and big buildings. Other ashrams are there, but not so huge in that area. ISKCON just stands out over there. Also, these deities of Radha Madhav, huge deities, they're very tall. And when these deities, in Jaipur, they gave the order for these deities. So the person who made the deities, Birla, because Birla people, they're famous for building temples all over India. So they came to this person and they liked Radha Madhav. They said, give them to us, we'll pay you double price, whatever you're good. And he was like, no. ISKCON people have asked for these deities, and whoever asked for, I made them for them, so they're going to take them. And Birla people offered more money, but he said no. And also for Radha Madhav, somehow the sculptor forgot to make the Janevu. Janevu is carved on the marble. But somehow he forgot. And I don't know if after he carved or when the installation was done, the sacred thread appeared on its own. Tatpara. When Prabhupada would go to the Western countries, he would be interviewed by many great persons. But when he came to Mayapur, he was talking so friendly, sometimes taking dues or giving instructions. And he lived simply, like a villager. The Western devotees think sometimes of Prabhupada in one leela only, like a great king. But when he comes to India, he's like another person. He was laughing and talking like a friend. Havana. In his straw house, Prabhupada sat on a bamboo platform. There was a bed and some mats on the floor. That was all. He was happier there than anywhere. We put a fan in there too, and Prabhupada liked it. He liked it because it was so simple. There was an outhouse, but he didn't mind it at all. He was relishing everything. At that time, he made Jayapataka and me co-directors of Mayapur. He made 4 signers on the checking account for the building construction. In India, just to open an account is very difficult. We were seeing that part of Prabhupada, where he was very strict because he knows the difficulties you can run into. If you don't fill out the proper forms, the bank can even keep your money, or you may want to close your account, and they won't let you. Our mood was played out. We were babies, so Prabhupada was training us in keeping accounts and management. Yes, India is different. It still is different than like America or Europe. Jan Nivas. The first time Prabhupada came to see the deities, he said, "Who is dressing the deities?" Someone said, "Jana Nivas." The deities were just standing on a tile platform with no decoration. They were just standing there. But Prabhupada looked at them so lovingly. He used to come and take darshan every day. One time he came to the deity room and I wasn't there. There were some Indian people taking darshan, and I had gone to get them a Back to Godhead magazine from a room about 10 feet away. When I came back, Prabhupada was there. He was also taking darshan, but he said, "You should always be standing here. People are coming, but no one is there." I said, "Srila Prabhupada, I just went to get a Back to Godhead. It's only 10 feet away." But he looked at me as if to say, "You're defending yourself again, making excuses." Then he told Bhavana, "This boy, Jananivas, should have some help. He cannot do everything. He's an ordinary person." But this Jananivas Prabhu and his brother, Pankajangri Prabhu, they are from UK, twins. And from London, they just came to, they traveled for a while. They were brahmacharis. They traveled, but then they came to Mayapur and they made this their home. They didn't go away from Mayapur. And they became head pujaris of Radha Madhav. And so many services they did. Pankajangri Prabhu left his body in COVID time, 2020. But Janivas Prabhu is still there, serving the deities very beautifully. The 5-day Gaur Purnima festival featured 24-hour kirtan with groups of devotees chanting in 2-hour shifts. Each morning, the main body of devotees would form a kirtan procession and go out visiting Navadvip's holy sites. The neem tree under which Lord Chaitanya was born, the house of Srinivasa Acharya, where Lord Chaitanya and his associates had performed nocturnal kirtan, the spot where the Qazi had tried to stop Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan, the residence of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Often, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had stood in front of his house, Prabhupada told the devotees, and looked out across the Jalangi towards where Srila Prabhupada now had his land. And looked out across, and he actually predicted one day there will be a big temple here. And just to give you one background, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a very high position government official. He was a judge. He was judge in Jagannath Puri, but here also he was in a very high position. So, but he used to live here across Jalang in Navadvip. And every day he had to go to his office. I forgot the city where he had to go every day. So British were so impressed by his work ethics and by his whatever work he did. They were so impressed. They laid a railway line up to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house so that he doesn't have to go through inconvenience. And they ran a train just for Bhaktivinoda Thakur to come to the office every day. That railway line is still there. Of course, the train is not there. It's a narrow gauge. But the railway line is still there. They laid out a railway line just for Bhaktivinoda Thakur to come to office. Can we imagine that? Throughout the day and especially in the evenings, the devotees would gather on the stage of the orange-striped pandal, while Radha stood at stage center within a traditional Bengali singhasan of carved banana stalks covered with colored foil and flower garlands. Prabhupada would have his disciples do most of the public speaking, while Achyutanand Swami lecturing in Bengali as the main speaker. He learned Bengali. Hundreds of people came and went in a steady stream, and the devotees distributed Bengali, English, and Hindi Back to Godhead magazines. In the evenings, they would present a slideshow or a film. Prabhupada was especially pleased to watch the prasadam distribution from his window. Hundreds of villagers squatting in long rows, eating khichdi from round leaf plates. Continue this forever, Prabhupada told his disciples. Always distribute prasadam. So this was one of the instructions. In fact, in Mayapur he gave this instruction, but in some other place, his instruction, his standing instruction, which we haven't been able to fulfill yet. His instructions were anybody who comes to the temple to take darshan, anybody. So you should have dal and sabji ready, and whenever somebody comes, you should be, he said puris, but one can make rotis also. So cook should make hot puris, and that person should be served full meal, full prasad. Somehow we haven't been able to fulfill that desire of Prabhupada. Like in Gurdwaras, it just happens. They serve everybody. But here at least they just feed khichdi. Even without a building, Prabhupada's preaching in Mayapur was significant, while other nearby mathas were also observing Gaur Purnima, mostly by hosting Calcutta widows who paid a fee to live a few days in a temple and visit the holy places of Navadvip. Prabhupada's Pandal program was the most vigorous celebration and drew the most visitors. The birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada said, had no meaning without preaching. Except for this time of the year, very few people visited Mayapur. Which is more important, Prabhupada asked, Lord Chaitanya's birthplace or his activities? It's his activities, his karma. His activities are more important than his janma or place of birth. The activities of Lord Chaitanya were chanting Hare Krishna and distributing love of God to all people. And this should be the activity of devotees in Mayapur. So basically to preach and Sankirtan and preach. On Gaur Purnima day, 10 of Prabhupada's sannyasi god brothers visited to participate along with Prabhupada's disciples and hundreds of visitors in the dedication and cornerstone laying ceremony. Prabhupada was gracious and friendly towards his god brothers, and he was gratified that they could all sit together to dedicate the world headquarters of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Sitting on a cushion next to sacrificial arena, chanting on japa beads, Prabhupada initiated 6 Bengali devotees and awarded the sannyas order to a young American disciple. I think it was Jayapatak Maharaj, but I'm not 100% sure. Then Prabhupada's god brothers spoke, each expressing appreciation of Prabhupada's work in the West. Finally, they all gathered around the pit, 5 feet square and 15 feet deep. Certain articles had been collected to be placed inside the pit in accordance with the scriptures. 5 kinds of flowers, 5 kinds of grains, 5 kinds of leaves, 5 kinds of metal, 5 kinds of nectar, 5 kinds of colors, 5 kinds of fruits, and 5 kinds of jewels. Prabhupada's god brother Puri Maharaj descended a ladder into the pit to put coconuts and banana leaves in a pot, and to place this along with flowers onto the altar of bricks. Next, Prabhupada entered the pit, carrying a box with gold, ruby-eyed murti of Anand Shesh. Earlier that morning in his hut, Prabhupada had confidentially shown a few disciples the murti. This is Lord Ananta, he had said, the serpent bed on which Lord Vishnu rests. He will hold the temple on his head. So that's how the foundation is made for the temple. Anand Shesh, he is the one who holds the temple on his head, and then yes, the rest of the building is made. Prabhupada now placed Anand Shesh on the altar of bricks and climbed back up the ladder. Then on Prabhupada's blissful invitation, everyone began to toss in offerings of flowers and money, followed by handfuls of earth. Although Prabhupada's god brothers had praised his work on God Purnima Day, several of them returned a few days later to complain about the use of the title Prabhupada. Prabhupada asked his disciples to leave the room. When they were alone, one of the sannyasi god brothers began challenging Prabhupada in Bengali. Why are you using Prabhupada? You have no right. This is our Prabhupada's title. You cannot take it. I did not take it, Prabhupada replied. They are calling me Prabhupada. What can I do? Although the sannyasi god brother then began to criticize Prabhupada for not joining the preaching and for awarding the sacred thread and sannyas order to Westerners, mainly the god brothers wanted an explanation for his use of the title Prabhupada. Brahmanand Maharaj, Prabhupada called, bring me a copy of my letterhead. When Brahmanand Swami returned with the stationery, Prabhupada showed it to his god brothers. The letterhead read, Tridandi Goswami, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. No Prabhupada. This proved that he himself did not use the title. This simple demonstration pacified the god brothers, and he then invited them to take prasadam with him, while his disciples served. Later in his hut, Prabhupada talked with his disciples about envy. A devotee could judge his own advancement by how free he was from envy, he said. A devotee could judge his own advancement by how free he was from envy. That we have to see ourselves. That introspection we have to do. Enviousness is what? Which I believe I should have, and the other has to whatever extent, plenty or to a certain extent. But I believe I should have. And then we commit offenses. Either we will speak against that person, somehow we try to put him down. Either speak or act against that person, to do something against his prestige or reputation. That's all enviousness. And the 6 anarthas, Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Mad, Matsar. Matsar is enviousness, and that is in the end. Means it's the most difficult to take out from our hearts. Most difficult. And if we analyze it, if some person, if it is a devotee, great. Even if in the material world, everybody is envious of each other. That's for sure. But even in devotee circle, because we still have those material sanskaras or material qualities, inclinations are there. So when I see somebody getting more recognition for something, suppose somebody is a very good kirtan singer, suppose somebody is a good speaker, or whatever, he manages very nicely, or whatever. So if that person has these qualities, then, I mean, if we analyze, then okay, Krishna has given him these qualities, these things. For whatever reason, for his past karma, for his devotion, or he got more mercy of Prabhupada or Guru. So Krishna has given him these things. So if I am envious of that person, basically I'm saying that Krishna, you don't know what you're doing. I should be having these qualities. Or the money he has, or the followers he has, or whatever. Krishna, you don't know what you're doing. Ultimately, this is what I'm saying. And this is nonsense, actually. So in our heart, we have to introspect it. Am I envious of somebody because he has something more or better than what I have? And how to remove that thing, enviousness? First, we have to analyze. We have to pray to Krishna. Okay, great. He has this quality or she has this quality. Great, wonderful. If you so like, you can give me that also. If I'm qualified, please give me that. If I deserve it, give me that. Or just give me whatever is best for my bhakti. And at the same time, we should be serving that devotee, thinking, oh, he got so much of mercy on Krishna. I should be serving. Not out of enviousness, but out of appreciation. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, when Rupa Goswami was in Jagannath Puri and he attended Rath Yatra, Mahaprabhu was singing one verse about the mood of Radharani when she saw Krishna in Kurukshetra. And she said, well, no, I see you here, but I don't like the way you are. You have all the kingly opulence and the soldiers and chariots and your crown. And I don't like it. I like it when you were playing flute with turban in the forests of Vrindavan under the Kadamba tree. So Rup Goswami came back with his heart. Sid Bakul, where Sid Bakul, he was staying with Haridas Thakur. And he wrote a verse expressing the feelings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he wrote it on the palm leaf. He put the palm leaf on the roof of the hut and he went to take bath in the ocean. Meanwhile, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with other devotees, Swarup Damodar Goswami and other devotees. And he saw this palm leaf on the roof of the hut. And he took out the palm and he read that verse. He was very pleased. But he showed it to Swarup Damodar. He said, oh, what is this? He has written. And they knew Rupa Goswami had written. Rupa Goswami came back and he paid obeisances and Mahaprabhu asked him, how did you learn what's in my heart? Rupa Goswami was just standing there, what to say. And Swarup Damodar said, because you have given him your mercy. You have given him your mercy earlier in Prayagraj, where you instructed, and now we have given him more mercy. And every devotee there glorified Rupa Goswami. They were not envious. They were not jealous. They were happy that Rupa Goswami got the mercy. They were happy Rupa Goswami could compile such a beautiful verse. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to destroy that palm leaf, but Swarup Damodar and other Mukunda, I think Mukunda, he protected, saved that palm leaf. So obviously, we could read it later. But they were very happy. Rupa Goswami got such a mercy. And then more discussions afterwards also. Because Rupa Goswami was writing this two plays, Lalit Madhav and Vidagdha Madhav, explaining the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan and outside Vrindavan. And they were so pleased with his scholarly abilities, with his devotion. And when Rupa Goswami explained the words on Harinam, Haridas Thakur, when he heard that, he started jumping and dancing. He said, I've never heard this kind of explanation of Harinam. So that we have to see. Do I have envy in my heart or not? Yes, it won't come out right away. It will take time, but we have to take it out. We have to take it. We have to appreciate the mood, the services of other devotees. At the same time, we can pray to Krishna. Give me what is best for my good. In the spiritual world, envy was conspicuous by its absence. Although all the liberated associates of Krishna were trying their best to serve Krishna in a kind of competition, everyone is pleased with one another. Competition could be there, yes, but not enviousness. If Radharani or a favorite gopi pleased Krishna, the other gopis did not think ill of her, but thought, oh, how nicely she has served Krishna. Let me try to offer some nice service to Krishna. So he'll be even more pleased. To be envious was materialistic. And Radharani, Shrimati Radharani, topmost devotee, associate. I mean, she gives the pleasure to Krishna, which nobody can even dream of. But she also, if some devotee does some service, and she tells Krishna, oh, this is a wonderful devotee, does so much. So serve you so nicely. So emblem of mercy, compassion, not enviousness. She can get angry with Krishna, that's a different story. But she doesn't get envious. And that's a quality we have to develop in our life. We have to, if we want to make progress. Okay, I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Nice class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mata.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.